What's going on, everybody? Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. We hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that the month of June is off to a good start for you. This is really the final month of the calendar year, to be honest with you, where we have no real mega football action, nothing to really sink our teeth into. Yes, there are things like OTAs, which we're obviously going to be discussing here today, but we have to wait until July to get something substantial at the end of July to be a little bit more upfront with you. Obviously, training camp begins, and then it's time for more of training camp, the preseason, and then our lives are dominated by the NFL once the end of summer and fall officially get here. So that being said, we are here to discuss what the Cowboys did on the very first day of June, obviously their most recent OTA session. The Cowboys are treating this very lightly. Mike McCarthy doesn't want to get fined the way he was each of the last two off seasons. But while this is not mega football, as mentioned, this is not contact by any means. This is not something that should elicit a huge overreaction. This is something that we can still learn from. There are opportunities to kind of view pieces and points of information to be able to discern things, even on a shallow level. So one takeaway that we kind of have is something that we've all been sort of feeling in our cores for a few months now, and it has to do with the left guard position on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the way we have framed this here today is that the Dallas Cowboys might have too many options at left guard. That's kind of how I'm starting to feel here today. And sometimes too many options is not a good thing. I'm not saying that this is worth panicking about, but I also don't feel like, man, the Cowboys just could close their eyes and pick a left guard. I don't feel that way at all. The Cowboys have, to this point in the offseason, and again, I'm putting this video together on Friday, June 2nd, they have given us a number of different names as far as potential options that they could utilize at left guard. Now, it's worth mentioning the reason that this is a weird kind of problem, not even real problem, but a weird situation and a brewing situation, potentially brewing situation. I know that there are all sorts of qualifiers that we have to add. And that's because if you make up an ideal offensive line for the Dallas Cowboys, which I've done down below, from left to right, it would be Tyron Smith, Tyler Smith, that's your left guard, Tyler Biadasz, Zach Martin, and Terrence Steele. In a perfect world, if we're playing Madden, we're turning the injuries off, this is what you trot out from left to right, and you're good. You're in business. But the problem here is that we're kind of just, we don't have a safety net, right? Like we have the looming, the brewing possibility that Tyron Smith, your left tackle in this situation, is at some point going to deal with an injury. And in case you think that that is too doom and gloom of a way to live, you don't think that that's likely, let me tell you that Dak Prescott has been the Dallas Cowboys quarterback for 7 years now. He's entering his 8th season with the Dallas Cowboys. He has never played an entire season with Tyron Smith at left tackle. That's right. Tyron Smith has not played an entire season for the Dallas Cowboys since 2015. Played every game that year, and unfortunately, every year since then, he has missed some time. So, as we've talked about before, you have to set your watch by it. And that problem and the inability or the indecision towards setting your watch by it last year almost really costed the Cowboys. If it wasn't for Tyler Smith manning the left tackle position as a rookie and saving the team, who knows what last season would have ultimately had for this team. But that's water under the bridge at this point. Right now, we're talking about what is going to happen, because if and when that switch is flipped, if and when Tyron Smith is out of the lineup, or if Tyron Smith is at right tackle, we'll talk about that in just a moment, then Tyler Smith obviously becomes your left tackle, and you have to figure out what you're going to do at left guard. Now, briefly, very quickly here, so far through OTAs, the Cowboys are using Tyler Smith at left tackle and Tyron Smith at right tackle, because Terrence Steele, I know I'm pointing, and there's all sorts of kind of balls up in the air. Terrence Steele is not quite ready. Obviously, he was hurt at the very end of last season. So Tyron Smith has been playing right tackle. Tyler Smith is at left tackle, which again leads us back to this problem of not necessarily having an option at left guard. Now, I have listed what I believe to be all of the options, right? If we just literally make a list of every option, every player who the Cowboys can potentially utilize at left guard, this is it. Tyler Smith obviously is option A, we would presume, unless the Cowboys feel particularly passionate about him playing left tackle full-time. I wouldn't even say beginning last season, because obviously he did. But if they feel passionately about not kicking Tyler Smith inside, which was the plan a year ago, but again, obviously circumstances changed, but Tyler Smith nevertheless is an option at left guard. Matt Farniok is an option at left guard. Terrence Steele is a name who the Cowboys have floated out as an option to potentially play left guard. I don't know what that world looks like. Maybe that world does include Tyron Smith playing right tackle full-time, but who knows? That option feels the most ridiculous to me. Josh Ball is a name the Cowboys have floated out as a potential option at left guard. Chuma Edoga, who they signed in free agency this offseason, is an option to play left guard. I think a lot of people believe in a Tyron-less world, if Tyler Smith is your left tackle, then Chuma Edoga is maybe the name that makes the most sense to be your left guard. Awesome Richards, who the Cowboys drafted obviously just a few months ago at this point, technically a few months ago, is an option for you if you want to hand it over to the rookie. And now, Matt, well, let's go. That's why we're here having this conversation today, because on Thursday at OTA, sorry, my timer's going off. Speaking of setting a watch, my jalapeno poppers are ready. Don't worry, I'll get to them soon enough. They're not going to overcook. I made sure to plan. But Matt, well, let's go was getting work at left guard. So what? Like, Matt Waletzko thought to be it's hard to say there's a swing tackle on this team, right? Because the Cowboys do have three quality tackles, right? In Tyron Smith, Tyler Smith, and Terrence Steele. So you would assume that one of those players is your swing tackle. But the problem is, if you're assembling a best five, which is a philosophy that a lot of people like to talk about when it comes to putting together their offensive line, of your best five offensive linemen, they are definitely three of them. So you want to technically, theoretically play them all at once. But the problem that the Cowboys are kind of running into is that they want to play those three, but they also want Tyler Smith to play left tackle seemingly. So that means Tyron Smith maybe has to play right tackle and Terrence Steele has to move to left guard, which comes back obviously to the suggestion they made a few months ago at the owners' meetings in Arizona. And so you have to manage all these things, right? And this is one of those. I remember when I was a freshman in college, I remember seeing this it was like a triangle graphic. And it was like, you can only have two of these three things. And one of them was an active social life. One of them was good grades. And one of them was enough sleep, right? Like that's just kind of, there are only so many hours in a day, right? You can only have two of these three things. You seemingly cannot accomplish all these things. If you did, whoever you are in your own life, congratulations to you. You are the exception. But as it stands, it's impossible really for the Cowboys to have those three players, Tyron Smith, Tyler Smith, and Terrence Steele, all playing simultaneously and not having Terrence Steele play guard. Or I'm sorry, it's impossible to have all three of them playing and have Tyler Smith playing left tackle and have Terrence Steele playing a tackle position, right? So that's where we've gotten the Terrence Steele left guard discussion. Matt Waletzko is another tackle option, right? Like if you do have this reserve tackle, this again, swing tackle for lack of a different term, it would seemingly theoretically be Matt Waletzko, at least at this point a year ago, when I know I was personally bemoaning, I was complaining at every turn a year ago at this time that the Cowboys did not have a plan for Tyron Smith at swing tackle, because a year ago, the Cowboys were planning on the first name on this list, Tyler Smith, being their plan at left guard. And so my qualm was, who is going to be your swing tackle? Their options were Matt Waletzko, who got hurt, and Josh Ball, who played horribly in the preseason. And so the Cowboys have now kicked them both inside. In fact, the Cowboys have basically kicked everybody inside that has been a tackle option for them, except for Tyron Smith. And obviously, you're not going to kick Tyron in. That doesn't make any sense. But why is Matt Waletzko getting snaps at guard now? Why, you know what I mean? Like, this is a really strange thing. And I don't say strange to say or imply that it's bad or it's wrong or the Cowboys are messing this up and they have no idea what they're doing. What I'm saying and what I'm kind of coming to terms with here is, if you look at this, because again, there have been reports or suggestions or implications for every single one of these names being an option for the Cowboys at left guard for this coming season. And what I'm saying is, I think we have to let go of preconceived normalities, right? Like we have to let go of the idea of, well, you just have your left tackle, your left guard, your center, your right guard, your right tackle, and your swing tackle. And that's kind of how you operate. And you have your backup, your depth interior alignment. No, the Cowboys are just in this kind of like constant game of musical chairs. They're sort of comfortable in the chaos of not knowing what exactly the plan is. And so is the plan going to be for Tyler Smith to play left tackle? Is the plan going to be for Tyron Smith to play right tackle? Is Terrence still going to be healthy enough? That's a factor you have to put into this mix all as well. I don't know, but those are we have to kind of set those parameters before we can ultimately dive forward. If I had to guess personally, I am starting to believe that the Cowboys really want Tyler Smith to play left tackle full time. I would also, though, personally offer that this is my ideal Dallas Cowboys offensive line, which includes Tyler Smith playing left guard. It is just a situation where we really aren't going to know an answer for a few weeks, but that doesn't mean we can't speculate, which is exactly what we do here. My name is RJ Ochoa. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at RJ Ochoa. On TikTok, rj.ochoa. If you'd like, you can send me an email, rj.ochoa@sbnation.com, or you can leave a comment down below. We'll do our best to get to those as well. Make sure you do subscribe here to the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel, and make sure you have yourself a wonderful weekend. If you know the answer who the Cowboys are going to play left guard, I would love to know it. But for now, thanks so much for hanging out. We'll see you next time.